And today guys, we're going to be making my delicious and indulgent version of a classic patty melt. This is a little twist on the original patty melt to make it a little bit more fancy and a touch tastier in my opinion. Absolutely superb. And so to make my patty melt, we're going to need some 18% fat ground beef. We're going to need some bread. We're going to need some red onions. We need some chilies. We need some balsamic vinegar. We need sugar. We need some cheddar cheese. We need some goat's cheese. And we need some butter. And so the first thing we need to do to make the patty melt is to prepare the ingredients for our red onion and chili jam. So use a really sharp knife, start with your red onions, and you just want to chop those in half, remove the skins, and slice those into nice long thin strips. Take a minute to do this, and then chuck your red onion into a bowl, and the next thing is our chilies. So here I'm removing the seeds because I don't want this to be too hot, but you can leave the seeds in if you wish. If you do want to remove the seeds, just roll out the chilies like you can see me doing here, chop the end off and then give them a tap and all of the seeds will just fall out of the bottom. And then slice your chilies and then pop your sliced chilies into a bowl, stick them to one side with your onion. Once you've diced up your onion and your chili, the next thing is to make our beef patties. So pop some greaseproof paper onto your chopping board and then take a nice handful of your beef and then break it up. Really important to use 18% fat beef and then start to massage that into a ball. Don't compress it too much, but we don't want it to be loose so it will fall apart. And then pop the ball onto your greaseproof paper and then start to flatten that out. And we want it to be roughly the same diameter as the bread that you're going to use and about 2 or 3 centimeters thick. So once you've flattened out your burger patty, stick it to one side, and the last thing we're going to need to do is to prepare our bread. So take your bread, here I'm using a nice thick farmhouse loaf, and we want 2 half-inch thick slices. So once you've cut off a nice few slices of your bread, we can begin to cook. And so the first thing I like to do for this recipe is make your chili and red onion jam. So take a frying pan, get that onto a medium heat, add a splash of olive oil, and then you want to chuck in your red onion and your chili. Take a few minutes to start to sweat these off, and we want to get them nice and caramelized. So take your time, keep stirring them through, season your red onion and your chili, and keep going until you've got them beautifully soft, tender and caramelized. As soon as they're nicely roasted off, you want to sprinkle in some sugar. Spend a few minutes to cook down and caramelize the sugar so you've got nice, thick, sticky, syrupy onions and chilies. And then we want to deglaze with some balsamic vinegar. So pour in your vinegar and then reduce this down until it's nice and syrupy. And then what I like to do is pop your red onion and chili jam into a small saucepan, and then we can reheat it when we need it. So now let's do this guys. We want to butter both sides of your bread. Be nice and generous with your butter, and now we're ready to go. So take a good heavy bottomed frying pan with a nice flat base, get that to a medium to high heat and chuck in your bread. This will take a few minutes to beautifully toast off on one side. Once it's toasted off and you've got some good colour on one side, turn that over and then start to toast off the other side. And at this point we just want to quickly grate some of our cheddar cheese onto a plate or into a bowl. So grate a nice good handful and stick that to one side until we need it. At this point we want to start our patty going so all the ingredients come together at the right time. So take another frying pan, add a little dash of olive oil, get that to a nice high heat and gently lay in your burger patty. Give this a minute or 2 on both sides to get it nicely charred and caramelized, and as soon as you've got a bit of colour on both sides, we want to spoon on your red onion and chili jam. So spoon on a nice heaped tablespoon or so, and then also add a nice handful of your grated mature cheddar cheese. Pop on a lid so that it beautifully steams and the cheese melts through. As soon as you've done this, you want to smother one side of your toasted bread with your goat's cheese. As soon as the cheese has melted through on your burger patty, take the patty from one saucepan and pop it onto the goat's cheese side. of your toasted bread. Pop the lid on your toasted sandwich and then press it down with a spatula. Give it a few minutes on each side to make sure that the inside's beautifully melted through, and then we're ready to serve, guys. Pop your patty melt onto a plate, and I like to chop it in half so you can see the beautiful pink burger patty and all the gooey melted cheese. This is a really great version of an amazing classic, really delicious and indulgent. You are gonna absolutely love this one.